làm cái này nhưng mà chắc là thiếu nứa anh ạ.
Đúng rồi, phải làm đẹp, không thì anh đi chặt ạ.
Mà cũng gần đây thôi mà, em đi chặt cũng được.
Vào đây làm việc với em thấy thoải mái lắm. Bớt áp lực ấy. Vì là công việc trên
xong là đi là tầm vào không nặng lắm.
The first light of dawn sliced through a dense shroud of mist, spilling a tender golden glow across the undulating hills where Ly Tieu Nu's humble farm perched. The uploaded photos unveil a tranquil courtyard, where the soft crow of a rooster pierced the silence, its echo mingling with the gentle rustle of banana leaves swaying in the breeze. Dewdrops clung to the thatched roof like crystalline beads, glinting under the emerging sun, while the air carried the earthy aroma of wet soil and the subtle sweetness of wild jasmine blooming nearby. Tien Nu stepped out, her breath forming faint clouds in the chilly morning, a woven basket slung over her shoulder as she moved toward the garden with quiet determination. The images capture her kneeling among rows of lush greens, her hands wrapped around a small, curved sickle, expertly harvesting plump kohlrabi bulbs that shone white against the rich, dark earth. Her fingers worked with a rhythmic precision, the blade slicing through the tough stems as she filled her basket, the photos freezing the sweat beading on her forehead and the faint smile playing on her lips. The garden buzzed with life. Ducks waddled near a bamboo fence, their quacks blending with the distant lowing of a cow from a nearby shed, its breath steaming in the coolness. She paused, stretching her aching back, and gazed at the horizon where the sky blushed with shades of pink and gold, the images showing her silhouette framed by the verdant fields. The scent of freshly turned soil mingled with the faint tang of green leaves, grounding her in the moment. "These will bring a fair price today," she murmured to herself, her voice a soft promise carried away by the wind. With her basket brimming, she trudged back to the yard, the photos depicting her setting it down near a rickety table where chickens pecked at scattered grain. She drew a sharp knife from her apron, her hands moving with practiced care as she trimmed away the tough stalks and wilted leaves, transforming the rough harvest into neat, market-ready bundles. The rhythmic snip of her blade echoed through the stillness, a solitary sound punctuated by the occasional flutter of a bird overhead. Around her, the farm pulsed with subtle energy. A farmer in a conical hat waded through flooded rice paddies in the distance, his reflection shimmering in the water, while a lone dog napped under a mango tree, its tail twitching lazily. Tien Nu wiped her hands on her skirt, her eyes scanning the horizon as if sensing a change on the wind. She stood, adjusting the basket's weight on her shoulder, the woven straps digging into her skin as a familiar comfort. The photos trail her figure down a narrow path, the farm fading into a patchwork of green and brown behind her. Her mind drifted to the years of solitary labor, the weight of her past a silent shadow she carried. Unbeknownst to her, this dawn marked the beginning of a journey that would unravel a long-buried connection, a thread of hope woven into the fabric of her quiet life. The distant chime of a temple bell floated through the air, a faint call to the day ahead. As she stepped forward, the images capturing her resolve against the misty backdrop. The midday sun blazed with unrelenting heat over a thriving village market, its narrow lanes alive with the cacophony of vendors shouting prices, and the shuffle of eager buyers weaving through the crowd. Ly Tieu Nu arrived, the uploaded photos showing her unloading her kohlrabi bundles onto a weathered wooden stall, the crisp green standing out vividly against the dusty earth. She arranged them with meticulous care, brushing off stray dirt as a throng of customers began to gather, their hands reaching for her produce with coins clinking in exchange. Within moments, the stall transformed into a hub of activity. Women in vibrant ao dye haggled with playful banter. Children darted between stalls with sticky rice cakes in hand, and the air thickened with the mingled scents of fresh cilantro, grilled fish, and ripening fruit. The photos capture her warm, tired smile as she handed over bundles, her voice rising above the din to call out, "Fresh kohlrabi, straight from my garden." The market pulsed with life, the images showing a kaleidoscope of colors. Red lanterns swaying overhead, baskets of mangoes and papayas stacked high, and a street musician strumming a soft tune on a bamboo flute. Amid the bustle, an elderly man shuffled forward, his frail frame hunched under a tattered hat, a poorly woven basket dangling from his bony arm. The photos zoom in on Tieu Nu's gaze, softening as she noticed his trembling hands and the weary slump of his shoulders. "Take these, uncle," she said, pressing a handful of kohlrabi into his grasp, her tone gentle yet firm. "I grew them myself, no charge." The old man blinked, his voice cracking with emotion. "Thank you, child. I've sat here since dawn with no sales, my hands too weak to weave more." She nodded, watching him shuffle away with a grateful nod, the images freezing her kindness against the market's chaotic backdrop. Her heart swelled with a quiet pride, a flicker of joy amid the day's toil, as she turned back to her thriving trade. Back at her family home, the phone's sharp ring sliced through the afternoon stillness, jolting her mother from a nap on a bamboo chair. The uploaded photos shift to a dimly lit room where she fumbled for the receiver, her face lighting up with a mix of hope and anxiety. "Hello? Truong?" she whispered, her voice trembling as she pressed the phone to her ear. Truong's voice burst through, brimming with excitement. "Mother, I have incredible news. Tieu Nu found her birth mother." The mother gasped, tears spilling down her cheeks as she clutched the table for support. "Oh, I feared with so little to go on. How did this miracle happen?" she sobbed, her hands shaking. Truong explained. It was fate. Tieu Nu met her while working at a construction site. She wore a bracelet, a family heirloom that led them to each other. Her mother came to my office asking about it, and I recognized it as Tieu Nu's. The photos flashed to a dusty work site, the bracelet glinting on Tieu Nu's wrist as a woman in a faded shawl approached, their eyes locking in a moment of stunned recognition, a silent understanding passing between them. Truong continued. Her mother visited 2 days ago but had to rush back to Yen Bai for a sick relative. She's over 100 kilometers away. She begged me to bring Tieu Nu and Du Wei to see her soon. The mother nodded, wiping her tears, her voice steadying. Tell Tieu Nu I'm overjoyed beyond words. Plan the trip quickly and let Lin at the newspaper know. She's been searching tirelessly, even skipping meals. Later, she dialed Lin, the photos capturing her relieved smile as she sank into a chair.
Linh, we found Tieu Nu's family.
Lin's voice crackled back, cheerful yet strained. That's a blessing. Thanks to the team, though we're buried in year-end deadlines, barely time to breathe. At the market, Tieu Nu's path crossed an old basket weaver, the images showing his frail figure slumped by a stall, his goods untouched under a tattered awning. No sale since morning, he sighed, his gnarled hands tracing a sturdy basket woven with trembling fingers. Tieu Nu admired it, her voice warm. Your craft is beautiful and strong, uncle, truly a work of art. He shared, his eyes distant. I live alone deep in the forest, weaving daily to survive, but with Tet nearing, the villagers have stopped buying. I had to trek miles to sell here. Moved by his story, she offered. Take these kohlrabi. I grew them with my own hands, a gift for you. He protested, his voice weak. At least half the price, child. I can't take charity. She shook her head firmly. No, uncle, keep it as a blessing. The photos capture his grateful bow, a tear glistening in his eye, the market fading as her compassion lingered, a thread connecting her past to the joy awaiting her reunion. The afternoon sun dipped low, casting long golden shadows across the barracks garden where Ly Tieu Nu returned after her market triumph. The uploaded photos show her kneeling among rows of tender cabbage seedlings, her hands pressing soil around each fragile root with tender care. The air rich with the earthy scent of growth and the faint tang of new leaves. The images depict the vibrant green shoots against the rustic backdrop of thatched huts and bamboo fences. A scene of quiet resilience and hope. The crunch of gravel announced Truong's arrival, his figure emerging in the photos as he approached with a broad grin, a bundle of bamboo poles tucked under his arm. Need a hand with those plants? He asked, his voice bright with enthusiasm, a spark of mischief in his eyes. Tieu Nu laughed, brushing dirt from her knees as she stood. Let's build a wavy trellis, perfect for the vines to climb and thrive, she suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. The photos show them working side by side, bending the bamboo into graceful undulating arcs, their laughter blending with the rustle of leaves and the distant chirp of crickets. "Remember our first tomato frame?" Truong reminisced, his hands deftly weaving the structure, the memories warming his tone. She nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. "Those little plants surprised us, growing taller than we dreamed." The task wove them closer, the images capturing their shared joy amidst the budding plants, sweat beading on their brows as the afternoon heat lingered. Truong paused, wiping his face with a sleeve, his breath uneven. "I wrapped up work early. Too much pressure at the office, it's suffocating," he admitted, his tone softening with vulnerability. Tieu Nu glanced at him, her expression tender. "I'm so glad you're here. This garden feels alive with you around. It's my sanctuary." He adjusted the trellis, suggesting with a thoughtful nod, "Widen the gaps a bit for better air. Keeps the plants healthy and strong." She agreed, and they continued, the photos showing their teamwork amid the growing rows, the bamboo taking shape under their hands. "I sold every kohlrabi today, even gave some away," she shared, pride lacing her words. He smiled. "You've got a gift for this. Keep nurturing it. Your heart shines through." As they worked, Truong's expression grew earnest, his hands pausing on the trellis. "I rushed to leave the office just to be here. The stress there is unbearable. Deadlines, arguments, but with you I feel free, like I can breathe again." Tieu Nu's heart warmed, her voice soft. "I've dreamed of visiting my birth mother in Yen Bai. Did you tell your mom about her?" He nodded, his eyes bright. "Yes, she's ecstatic and hopes our mothers meet someday. Imagine the stories they'll share." The photos capture her hopeful gaze, the trellis now a sturdy frame, its curves mirroring their growing bond. "Stay warm," he added, coughing lightly into his hand. She frowned, concern etching her face. "You'll catch cold. Put on that jacket, please." The afternoon light softened, casting a golden hue over the garden as Truong inspected the trellis. "These tomatoes will fruit in a week. Look at those blossoms, so full of promise." Tieu Nu beamed, her hands brushing the tiny flowers. "I can't wait to see them ripen. All I think about is being with you every day, sharing this peace." He chuckled, his voice warm. "Same here, every moment. Are you happy about finding your mom?" Her face glowed. "So much. Thank you and your mom for guiding me through this journey. I couldn't have done it without you." He squeezed her hand, his grip firm. "It's my joy too, seeing you smile like this." She worried, tilting her head. "Work isn't too hard, is it? You look tired." He shrugged. "Not today, it was light, just long." She insisted, her tone gentle. "Don't push yourself too hard. Eat a good breakfast, dress warmly, and rest when you can." The sun dipped lower, painting the sky with streaks of orange and purple, the garden now a haven of their labor. Truong stepped back, admiring their work, This trellis will hold strong. Our tomatoes will thrive. Tieu Nu nodded, her eyes tracing the structure. It feels like a new beginning. He turned to her, his voice low. I just want to be here with you every day through every season. She smiled, her heart full. And I want that too. Close to you, close to my family again. The photos freeze their tender exchange. The garden a symbol of their blossoming love and the promise of reunion. A future woven with care, hope, and enduring ties.
She told me about Phyllis, a spas health director who had lost her husband several months before. I invited Phyllis to have lunch with me the next day, and we quickly established some common ground. We were about 10 years apart in age, but she had also been with her husband for about 50 years. She talked of how they met and what their life had been like. And I could tell by her stories and the warmth of her tone of voice that she, too, had a happy marriage. Then it was my turn, and all I could do was cry as I told the story of my own husband's battle with cancer and chronic pain. As unquote, I'm used to asking people what they have learned from their experiences, so it was natural for me to ask her for advice on what happened her deal with the crushing grief. Obviously, she has been doing something right to be so full